I'm creating an idea, it satisfies my own mindset. But when it goes to the market, it doesn't satisfy many requirements as market required. Being such a different person, is it okay for the society? People judge you.
I hate doing one thing only.
Make sure that you are getting right investor, or getting into right funding projects. And how do you explain these things?
How can you explain these concepts in a way that other people can understand it? So that individual first needs to understand it themselves.
How exactly you use social media?
So LinkedIn's a great one.
I end up getting wrong information from wrong people. When I take that information and go to the market, I was like completely failed. So people should understand how to use the technology. Or what are the lacking support system from the government?
We're probably not as generous with funding and supporting.
Do you think any startup need a lawyer? What is the main thing that is lacking from Australian market? So what is the best suggestion you give me when I wanted to globally expand my business? I would like you guys to join our community and wait for the inspiring videos. Welcome back to the Inspirepreneurs podcast. Today we have Theo as the guest. He is the most talented person I have ever seen. He is a lawyer, he is an entrepreneur, he is a public speaker's coach, and he is the author for the best-selling book in Amazon. To all the young entrepreneurs who are watching, Theo is the best example to show you how to build your career based on your strength. Today's podcast will teach you the knowledge how to stand outside the crowd. Watch this video till the end to know more about him. Welcome, Theo. It's an honor and privilege to have you in my podcast.
Thanks so much. It's great to be here.
Oh, thanks for that. And how is your day today?
It's been great. I flew into Melbourne this morning and I've just been working away, having some good coffee. It's been a good time.
That's fine. So, how is your lifestyle started and how did you end up into being a lawyer, entrepreneur and like multi-talented?
Yeah, thank you. I was in high school and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. And it took me a while to find my groove. I was never the sort of smartest person. For me, I didn't really like school until probably about grade 10. And I think from there, I found subjects that I really liked and started to align with. And the things I really enjoyed were English, drama, and social studies. So looking at society and that sort of thing. And I had to think, and English as well. So for me, it was about, how do I combine all of these things into a career that I like? And I kind of transitioned those interests into law. It kind of made sense because law has, aspects where you have to understand society and people. You have to perform and communicate as you would in drama. And then I guess English is a really important thing, like developing arguments and using the English language to argue a particular point. And all those interests combined helped me to find my path into law. And then I've been, a practicing lawyer for over 10 years now. And throughout this time as well, I've created my own consultancy and joined boards and done some other things as well, just to, ensure I can do everything that I enjoy doing.
Well, that's really awesome. Then how you're organizing your day schedule according to the different, you have like almost 10 multiple skills. So how you're organizing your day according to that?
The 9 to 5 during the day is dedicated to my day job, but then in between it's everything else. So in the morning, I do my work for my business. I might have clients in New York or in another country where, they want to meet with me for a coaching session or they want to talk about an upcoming event. Lunchtime is dedicated to doing emails for my business as well, or some of my boards that I'm part of, and evenings as well ends up being the same. So doing some lead generation work or editing my website or drafting emails, wherever it might be, it's, those times outside of my job essentially that are really important to get some more stuff done.
That's pretty good. But being into multiple, different type of business, it's not such easy because a single person can't handle all the pressures, Okay, so being such a different person, is it okay for the society, people judge you? So how do you feel that?
Yeah. Well, I think for me, I've always loved doing different things. I hate doing one thing only. It doesn't fulfill me with joy. And I think because I have so many different passions and interests, I get really bored if it is just one thing. So I've been even looking at, my consultancy or my business. It has multiple different services and offerings within it because I just love being able to try different things and get involved in different aspects and provide, my value and my thought leadership through different means and methods. So being able to do that as well as enjoy the opportunity to, continue doing legal work, look at governance work through a board lens and, event management and event planning through TEDx has been, really fun.
Yeah, that's really pretty organized way of doing things, I think. So coming to the TEDx, how is it going?
It's great. So I've run 3 events in Hobart. So it's an annual event. So you can only run one per year. And yeah, they've been amazing. So I took on the license in 2021 and for the first event in 2022. And then, we ran our most recent event in May of this year. And it's just been incredible to see, the videos now online, except for one's still pending to get approved by TED, to see how, people are resonating with the messages that people are sharing. And for me, as I guess the organizer, but also one of the coaches working with the individuals to get their idea onto the stage to then resonate with the rest of the world has just been amazing to see, I guess, the impact that these talks can have. So, from our event last year, one of our talks has reached, I think it's over 4.3 million views, which is huge. So, possibly one person at least from every country in the world has seen something.
Yes.
From TEDx Hobart, which is pretty amazing.
Oh, that's I love to see. So, being a public speaker, how much important is that, communication skills? So, because you are being into coach and training people for a long time, how important is to a person to, train himself for the good communication skills?
I would say communication is the number one skill for employability. So if you want to see your career or your business propel forward, the one skill you need to improve is your communication. So whether that's your just oral communication, so presentation skills, public speaking, written communication, being able to write a compelling email, being able to draft a report that's interesting, being able to provide interesting information in an infographic that's going to resonate with your audience. Regardless of the format, it's the number one skill that can help people move forward. And I'm not the only one that says this. Inc.com has said it in its reports, and I'm sure there's, there are a range of other, programs that have said this is just one of the most critical skills to get right.
How did you build your personal brand concentrated regarding only this particular communication skills?
I built it because I guess how and why, really it's because for me, I viewed it as such an important thing. I looked at my own experience to say in my legal career, the one thing that stopped me from moving forward and progressing forward and actually becoming, a more senior person, other than experience, is my ability to communicate. So with everything, particularly in the law or whether it's like accounting or insurance or whatever it might be, as individuals, we're taught these important technical skills. We are taught, these critical technical things that we need to know to be experts in our space. But if you can't communicate those ideas to other people, how do they view you? Or how do they view the information that you're telling them? If you can't communicate effectively, you then can't essentially reach people with your message. So being able to transform how you communicate something to other people and tailor it to that particular audience is absolutely critical. So my own experience then demonstrated, okay, well, I think there's a lot of other people that can benefit from this. And, I try and do that through a range of different things, as I've, spoken about, whether it's keynotes, workshops, online course, my podcast, or my book. It's just aspects that I want to be able to share this message with other people and give them the skills in a quick and easy format.
Yes. Like present generation, I think many people are lagging this one thing because, they may have a good idea at like startup, for example, but they don't know how to communicate and, they end up in the same place, not building their product.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think they need to concentrate in like one day. they need to concentrate, like this is the most important thing in our daily life too. Because how do you suggest young people or international immigrants, people coming to other countries, and how, because their native language is different, and when you come to here it is purely different because it's culturally different countries. How do you go into those cultural diversity topics and make sure that you are getting right investor, or getting into right funding projects, and how do you explain
In terms of helping people with, I guess, those language barriers, really it's about how can you explain these concepts in a way that other people can understand it. So that individual first needs to understand it themselves and then figure out a way or learn a way to communicate it to other people. And that takes practice and it takes time. But I think with, another language, it's about how we actually share this information. So I know, like so I've coached people with, accents before, like with TEDx, and we've had heaps of amazing people from different, cultures and backgrounds. One in particular, there was a girl who's Malaysian, and the Malaysian accent is very sing-song, which it sounds really cool. It has this beautiful tonality to it, but sometimes the emphasis in a Malaysian word or the Malaysian language goes up at the end of a word rather than it going down. Often when things go up, it sounds like you're asking a question in English, but in other languages, it's just how the word sounds. So being able to but change little things like that so it sounds more natural to an English-speaking ear, a native English-speaking ear, can help the person then know how to actually communicate effectively to an English-speaking audience. So whether people, want that experience through a coach, that could work, but there are like online tools that people can use as well to practice and play around. So there's an amazing tool called Udly, which is a AI speech coach, which people can record themselves and get feedback straight away. So then the feedback they can follow can help explain what they're doing and how they can get that digital experience. I use that in my coaching. So if people ask me, hey, can we work together? I'm like, sure, record a video. Let me see what the AI has to say, because that's useful for me to understand, tone, non-inclusive language, how many words per minute, all of that sort of stuff. And then that makes the coaching session a bit more effective and useful. But I think something else that's interesting is people with a foreign accent have this special gift, and that is when they're speaking, they sound different, which makes people lean in a little bit closer.
Yes.
Because it means they have to stop and pay attention because it sounds a little bit different. And that's not a bad thing. Of course, there's going to be bias out there because that's society and people have their own biases with anything. But essentially, I think what we find is if people that do have a different accent get more attention because people have to pay attention in order to make sure they understand them.
Yes.
So that's not a bad thing, but it can sometimes be a bit of a barrier.
So I got a little bit story. Recently, I've been going to many pitch deck systems. I met one guy, and I was like, his pitch deck was like awesome. Then I asked him, like, how did you do it, and did you have any experience? Then he told he started to talk with AI, ChatGPT. So every day morning when he woke up, he started to explain his pitch deck to the AI. Then he used to take the feedback. So that was like, I was like literally pretty impressed with that. So people should understand how to use the technology.
Yeah.
As you told, we can use some AI tools to get better communication skills. That's really impressed me.
Yeah.
How do you feel that? How do you say?
I agree. I think, AI is becoming one of these things which, we can either be afraid of or embrace. And particularly for small business owners and entrepreneurs, if you can get extra help through tools that are available to you, why not? It just makes more sense to save time, hopefully save money, and, prevent failure essentially from getting that additional support from something that, is available at a few clicks.
No. That's really, actually, you can be a master at that because you don't need to get scared of stage fear maybe.
Yeah,
you can just sit in the room and just record your video and get the feedback. That's like easy.
That's great. Yeah,
and that's like pretty impressive too, because you will be habituated to talk a lot. That makes your communications more easier when you are on the stage.
That's it.
Yep.
Exactly.
And how do you build your personal brand as a coach, and how do you articulate that into a proper lifestyle?
So I utilize social media as one of my main mechanisms for how to get my brand out there. So whether it's Instagram, whether it's LinkedIn, it's just about being able to speak and communicate to an audience so they feel they hear something that's important to them. So I try and share things, like practical tips, useful tools, personal stories, updates about what I'm doing. And that sort of content is useful for, I guess, showing me. So being able to present, this is what I'm up to, this is what I'm doing, this is where I am, as well as, here's some stuff that could help you in your career and your business, or, for the next time you have to get up on stage or present to a room, think about this sort of stuff. And I guess other aspects that are important for my personal brand are, at the moment, because I am a speaker, being able to speak at events and show that I'm speaking at those events is really important. So getting up in front of more audiences and sharing my message with those people is, absolutely critical, because it's a thing of mass. So being able to be in a room with a few hundred people and then, keep doing that just means that more people get to hear me and see what I'm doing and, get to hear the message.
Can you explain me more about how exactly you use social media? Because many people don't know how to use that medium as a successful tool.
Yeah, I mean, it's about consistency. I think that's probably the most important thing to drill home. If you are not consistent on your social media, then your audience will just drop. But if you are sharing a message that people are resonating with, that's consistent with, I guess, your brand, your values, and essentially it's stuff that people are showing interest in, then that's how you can continue really utilizing that space. So LinkedIn's a great one. LinkedIn's really interesting for text posts, being able to share, stories or techniques and tips in written form is really useful, very engaging for people as well, because, if you find that it resonates with people like it, people comment on it, and they, want to see more of you. And if you post every day at the same time, for example, then your audience begins to start seeing that content more, because they are used to seeing you and you become familiar. With something like an Instagram, that's become very much a video, video content at the moment. So sharing reels is really good. Sharing things in your story and being able to speak to your audience is really important. So popping up in a story, having a chat, speaking to people as if it's one person, not, hey guys, it's hey, I just did this, or I'm going over here. So it's conversational. And that's actually something I talk about in my book as well, because when you're speaking on stage, you feel more comfortable if you feel like you're speaking to one person rather than speaking to a whole group of people.
Yes.
So being able to use and alter your communication and your language to speak to one individual rather than a group is a little bit better and more effective for that.
Actually, yeah. As you told that, it's easy to do that, but people don't know how to engage that in particular topic. So my question is, if I'm not so good at speaking, should I learn skills first, then jump into the creating content, or let's jump in and just start doing things?
You got to jump in. Jump in. I think jumping in is great. I mean, because the more you do, the better you become. So public speaking and presentation skills, it's a muscle. So it's a muscle that you have to build. So if you don't do it, you can't get better at it. And it just takes, that little bit of courage to just get in front of the camera, to say something and to get started. And with that, you then become more comfortable because you're doing it more. And with speaking, it's the same. So the more you speak and the more competent you feel at it, the more you do it. I know I've spoken to people who speak at conferences regularly, but if they haven't spoken at one for a month or two, they then start to feel nervous about the idea of doing it. But if they did it every week, they'd be super, super, super comfortable with it because they're doing it so often. So it's just building that skill and building that muscle and ensuring, I guess, a level of consistency to make sure that you just keep working at it.
Yeah, this example literally, tells me how I'm feeling every day. If I'm not being consistent, I feel like, oh God, I don't want to do it. But you need to do it anyway. You don't have an option because you wanted to get things done. So you need to just dump it. Even my team, everybody tells me, if I even don't know how to ask questions, doesn't matter. Just jump in and just start doing it. You will figure out one day.
Yeah.
Maybe it takes time, but you will figure out.
Exactly. But even if you don't know straight away, that's fine. You're learning as you go.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
And that shows progress actually every day. When you post first video and when you post your maybe 100 after 200 videos, if you see, you will be just shocked at how you improved your skills and how you just manifested everything. The journey is awesome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to get to a point of being happy, you have to first arrive at cringe mountain.
Yes.
Because cringe mountain is that very, very first video that you do that you look back on and you think, oh, yuck. But that's okay because it shows progress. And, it's all about 1% better every day.
Yes.
It does a little bit each day, then you're great.
Yes. It's all about consistency, as you told, Just be consistent. Post something. It's nothing wrong.
Yeah.
But people are everybody's scared of judging others actually. If I post something, people will just comment some, they'll just steer me into the parts regarding, they will just put all the wrong, bad judging you, but that doesn't make any sense. Just you do whatever you want. Yep. How do you say that?
Yeah, look, other people's judgment can stop you because, that becomes concerning. But if you're going to let other people, control what you're doing, why do anything?
Yes, you can't move forward.
Yes, yeah. I found that there was a point in my sort of early legal career where I was being nominated for awards quite regularly. And then, you post something on social media to say, hey, really excited for the awards night tomorrow. And then you'd have people say, oh, did you pay for that nomination?
Yeah.
All of this sort of stuff. You're like, where are you coming from? Why are you jumping in here? You have no reason to say anything, but you're just getting in here for the sake of doing it. And at first I might look at it and think, oh, that's quite rude, that's quite annoying. At the end of the day, I don't care because I was nominated for it and I'm at this stage. It's actually really exciting, so don't throw me off, I guess, my high horse. But I think it might also be a cultural thing. So in Australia, we very much follow a tall poppy syndrome thing where someone is doing something amazing and people see it and they want to cut them down.
Why? Why do you think that?
The culture thing. It's a culture thing.
That's it. It's a culture.
Okay. It's absolutely a part of culture. So promoting yourself and showing that you're doing something really good annoys other people and then they just want to cut you down. And I think it does tend to be a very common thing. Compare that to the US, people are really supportive of each other. So they, I think, have a belief that there's no one space at the top, whereas, you can have multiple people doing amazing things together. Yeah. Whereas, here it seems to be almost like a scarcity mentality where, that person can't be doing something good because I'm not. So let's poke fun of them. It's interesting to analyze.
Yeah. It's it has become common part of everyone's lifetime because if you are doing something great today, I don't feel comfortable. Like I'm not doing so. I feel like, okay, he should not do it. So I just keep commenting bad comments like, oh, you paid for that, or like you got your crap. I know where you are coming from. These all shit. There was I run a restaurant too. There was some comment a couple of days back, a review saying that Indians run this restaurant, don't go to this restaurant. I was like, what the hell? Just seeing my skin and seeing my country, you can't judge me. You need to come to the store, eat. If the food is good, come back. Then why you're judging regarding my skin? That's not fair.
It's not fair at all.
Yes, which is so disgusting. There are people like that. I have come up across a lot of people. When I knock doors, they don't even respond properly. They keep they just answer my question in a different way, saying that it really touches my heart. But those never stop me. I'll take a couple of minutes and go, okay, that's not my cup of tea. Okay, let's go. Let's try another thing. That's it. But I don't stop my work there.
Yes.
And managing all these literally is so hard. And how you became an author? Like how did it came in between?
Oh, look, bit of a story. I'll bring up the book. I did a business accelerator course a couple of years ago, and that was, just a really great opportunity to learn about how to run a business and how to successfully create something, because I, was trying, but I thought, well, let's actually get into it with some, I guess, expertise. So I did a business accelerator, and then once you complete that, they give you the option to do a book building course. So I thought, all right, if I can do a course to figure out how to write a book, then let's do it. So it's I think it was 3 intensive days or evenings. So from 6 till 9 o'clock, I think, learning how to, plan and prepare and write a book. And they send you this big box of stuff at your door, which was really cool. And they give you these materials that you can use. So they say, okay, first thing you're going to do is plan it out. Plan a book. You're going to plan each part. And then within each part, you're going to plan each chapter. And then within each chapter, what are you talking about? What are the things that you're talking about? And you sit down and do that in your sort of first session. And that's probably one of the more challenging things to do, because, you can change it, you can alter it later, but it's actually putting your book plan on a page. And then you can figure out, I guess, from there, how many words need to go in each little section, in each chapter, in each part, whatever it might be. And then it's about picking up each of those sections and writing it. And then you just keep doing that until you produce a book.
Seriously?
Yeah.
It's big work, actually. Too much. And how many days it took to write it?
Days. 600 plus. It took over 2 years to write it.
Long time.
Yeah, too long. The course I did said, if you just dedicate writing for 1 hour a day for 5 days for 6 weeks, you'll get the whole book done. And I started on a really great trajectory where I was doing that for about 2 or 3 weeks. And then I just had writer's block. I just couldn't think and write anymore. I just had other things going on in life. I had, clients that I was dealing with, so they needed me to run workshops and do these other things, which took up my mental capacity. All right, I have coaching clients who wanted my help and wanted me to do stuff. I had demanding legal matters. So just things were taking over. So I put this aside. So this thing that I really wanted to get done, I just wasn't focusing on. But instead, I was doing my other stuff. But this was really important to me. So I had to pick it up again. And then when I started picking it up, I started doing a little bit at a time just so I could not lose momentum and just, didn't burn myself out doing it. So it took the 2 years rather than the 6 weeks that were planned. But, at the end of the day, I'm really happy with the result. It's been really great,
I think that's the best-selling book in Amazon right now.
It is a bestseller. It was a bestseller in 5 categories in its first 24 hours, which is really cool.
How do you feel about that?
I was stoked. I was really, really excited because I was in the US at the time. So, everything was delayed because, time difference. So they're in the past over there. Had no idea, how the reception was going to be back home. I had all my social media posts go out, send something to my mailing list to let them know it was available. And then, it was just a really, really amazing experience to then hear from my publisher when I woke up to say, you're a bestseller. You've reached this category, this one. So it was cool.
Yeah,
it was
that's
good.
Really amazing. So if I want to write book, what are the initial steps I need to take and what are the things I need to be concentrated at?
Well, first you've got to, for a business book anyway, important to figure out what is, I guess, the overall message you want to share with people. So what's that one thing you're trying to get out into the world? Then it's about planning each part. So my book, for example, is in 5 parts. And I already had an existing 5C methodology for communication. So each part of the book is one of my 5 Cs. And then within each part, there are 2 chapters. So then I have to think about each chapter and plan it out. So if chapter 1 is about clarity of audience, how do I then share that main point in, 3,000-ish words? So I mapped out each little part of each chapter like that. and just go going through the whole thing. So you map it out, and then you research to make sure you've got the right content. You think of case studies, methodologies, stories, whatever it might be, to then talk about, and then you compile that into a book.
After writing everything, do you take any approvals, or like how do you check it before getting it into public?
Because I guess I already had my publisher lined up. Once the manuscript was done, I then sent it to them to see if they were still happy to accept it. So they reviewed the whole thing, and then from there they said, great, we're going to commence the 16-week process from now. The first step is it goes to the editor. So the editor takes the manuscript and they rip through it. So they go through mostly writing comments and mostly correcting grammatical issues. My editor is in the UK, so there were certain things that I would say in here where she'd comment and say, that sounds very Australian and I don't understand that. So I'd say, okay, great insight. How do I then change this little paragraph or sentence to sound global?
Like global, yep.
Yeah. And it was, really just a back and forth process with the editor. So she would, she gave me all her comments and like some of the amendments, and I went through and replied and changed some stuff, accepted stuff, deleted stuff, whatever, the recommendations were. And then it goes back to her for a final review, then back to me just for the all clear. Then it goes to proofreading, and then I proofread it, and then typesetting, and then it makes its way to get published.
Plenty of work involved.
Yeah.
Seriously, plenty of work.
Yeah.
So as you told that, globally, when you are releasing your book, you need to change a lot because you are sounding like Australian. I had a big doubt on this, because I'm learning everything which is related to Australian market in the business.
Yeah.
So what is the best suggestion you give me when I wanted to globally expand my business? Because each and every country has a different structure of business.
Yeah.
I can't run same business in the Africa or some Brazil because it's a different component culture. So how do you suggest for me to learn that global skills?
I mean, global skills are hard, right? Because, every culture is different. Everyone's going to interpret things differently. I guess for the book, I had to just remove, some very Australianisms that I would say day to day, because I write how I speak. And there's a few things that I would say as an Australian that would resonate with other Australians or people living in Australia, but wouldn't necessarily resonate with someone in the UK or Greece or Europe, whatever it might be. So I had to strip back colloquialisms and then think about, okay, I need to then provide examples from other places so it becomes relevant to them. And also using one of the principles that I talk about, plain English. Plain English and utilizing English that is accessible to everyone is going to be the best way to share the message that I want to get out there. So really it is just stripping back a lot of those layers and ensuring just a level of clarity in what you're saying. And I mean, growing a business globally is going to be hard, but it is about, understanding each market separately if you are doing something individually in those spaces.
Because the question is, I want to, turn my Inspire Pioneer business into global in next couple of years.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, because each and every country has a different structure of stories. So if I talk same story in the India or somewhere else, people don't love to listen. There's different type of components. So, I was still doing my ROI recording, research and development in all the countries. Yeah. So if I go globally, it should be pretty smart.
Yeah.
It's not like go and fail.
Yeah, that's right. But I mean, it's test and see, right? Because you have to find out if, each market likes and appreciates what you're doing. I mean, it's interesting, like for the book, I found that sales have been popular in Australia, the US, UK, Germany, and India. So it's popped up in India as well, which I, find interesting. Those are kind of like the hotspots where the book's been going.
Yeah, the big markets actually globally, if you compare with the business or anything, I think those countries are the big market.
Yeah.
Yep. And you told the test and see, usually how much time we need to spend in that test and see? Like maybe weeks or months? How many times? How do you take the results?
I think you've got to, consider your own data. So it's going to be different for whatever you're testing and seeing. For me, it might be like a new product line or a service that I'm offering. I'll give myself a period of time and test, ranges of marketing material and, content and videos and whatever it is that I'm, getting out there, like a marketing campaign. And if it's not resonating, then I've done something wrong. And then I just think, okay, if I haven't made any sales or I haven't done anything, or like no one's reaching out to ask about this, I clearly have done something that isn't working. So I have to then look at the data and analyze, like, okay, I put an ad out for this, I'm getting these people clicking, but they're not converting. So what's happened? So I think it is about just understanding the circumstances, reading, reviewing, using the data that's available, and then making tweaks to see if it's going to, change things. So doing those tests are just really, really critical.
But it takes a long time. But it's like not an easy process, because when you are changing globally, even with the investments, you need huge investments to see those results, and you need to give a minimum time period to just analyze things whether it's working or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Otherwise, it's gonna be like fail.
Yeah.
Many business, because when we wanted to change our Inspirepreneurs into India, we need to literally change the whole project, because componently it's different. Because Indian business system is comparatively very different with Australia.
Yeah.
The way how they see the product and the way how Australians see the product, like, varies completely. So we need to be a bit smart at understanding, I was trying to change things into globally.
Yes. Yeah. It's just it's a big project, right?
Yeah.
You've got to just keep going.
Understanding and changing things, what is not working, and just taking time.
Yep.
As you told that you train many people improving their business ideas. How do you see that business idea works? And when they are explaining, everybody thinks that their idea works. But if you come to the practical way, how do you say that it's really not working?
Yeah, I mean, with I guess with the ideas that I help people with, just specifically in the TEDx space, it's just about understanding the fact that for it to be an idea, it has to be something that is innovative, new, or a way of looking at something through a different lens. So often, or giving an idea or giving a topic a fresh, completely different perspective that's going to change your perception on something. So I think, that could translate really well to business in terms of, if the thing that you're doing isn't new, innovative, or helping people to change their perceptions about how they consider something, is it actually that interesting or new or innovative for other people to, consider. So I think that's a really important thing to think about, like what is the sort of overall impact that this thing could have? What is the market out there for it? I think with any business idea, you just have to really dig into that research and understand what is the potential market for this thing that could benefit from it. So people actually want to engage and want to purchase and want to invest, really.
Can you tell me more detail? So, because if you create an idea, how do you think that I know that's really works? Because when I'm creating an idea, it satisfies my own mindset. But when it goes to the market, it doesn't satisfy many requirements as market required. So how do you see that? And can you explain me more bit about that?
It's all about beta testing. You've got to just put it out there to a particular segment of people and see if it works. So can you talk to a trusted group of people, like a little advisory group, some mentors, your friends, people that actually, could test and see what you're doing first and then get feedback. Because if you're not, I guess, exposing yourself and testing and seeing from other people who are, in this space, you might not find you're going to get the success that you want because you've done something that you think is good, but the people that you're trying to target and reach and work with probably disagree. So it's just about, I guess, aligning those things and, creating a group of beta testers out there to work with.
That's pretty good, actually, because without that, but here I got one more question. But how do you choose those type of people? because when it comes to sharing things, I can share my idea with hundreds of people, but how do I know that it's a right judgment?
Well, your market, your target is your market, right? So although you have a segment of people that you want to target, you don't have to limit that to your entire market. So if you've got a group in mind that you think, well, I'm going to tailor, this magazine or publication to people that are 25 to 35, male or female in this part of the world. All right, well, let's gather those people and see if it resonates with them. But then you could see, are these the right people that it's actually resonating with, or are there other people who are engaging a little bit more? And if so, what is it about this thing that's making them interested in it? So I think it's interesting to see, once you gather the data, once you've got the feedback, to understand what is making this thing the most engaging for this particular group of people.
Actually, it is important part. Otherwise, actually, in the initial days when I started my business, I end up getting wrong information from wrong people.
Yeah.
Because I usually think that they are a bit better, and I used to ask them all the questions which I completely I don't know. But I used to get all the wrong information. When I take that information and go to the market, I was completely failed.
Yeah.
Then I figure out that I'm not asking the right question to the right person. So that's how I'm getting toned away or, getting failed. So that's where I figured out it should be very particular, or I should be very particular while getting that data from right person.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah. And jumping to the topic back again, and how does the TEDx works, the storytelling? You told that you train people telling their stories. How does it works?
I guess the TEDx brand itself. So for me, I'm the licensee and executive director and curator of TEDx Hobart. So in this space, I had to first apply for the license. So you talk to TED, it's a online application process, and then I became the licensee of TEDx Hobart. But that goes through their approvals, so they need to understand my capability as someone who can run an event, understand their rules, and put it all together and find the funding, the money, doing the marketing, all that sort of stuff. From there, it's it's a case of, okay, well, now I've got the approval, I then have to make it happen. And then it is breaking down the steps of an event, following the TEDx rules, because there are so many that you have to follow for their particular brand guidelines, basically. And yeah, it was just about, okay, well, we're on, how do we do this? And, I could probably write another book about how to run an event.
Yes, you can.
But I guess first of all, it's starting off with choose a date. And then once you've got a date in mind, can you find a venue that is appropriate and actually available? And then do you figure out a budget? So how much are things going to cost to make this event run? So mapping out everything, getting quotes, multiple quotes from different places. So different caterers, different videographers, different AV team. If you want to do social media marketing, find social media marketing people that you could engage potentially, or the software that you might need, because there's probably going to be bits and pieces that you have to do that can't get for free. Whatever it is, just budget, and then from there it's about, okay, create a marketing plan. What do you want to promote? What are the themes of the event? What are the pillars you want to touch? Who are the people that you want to reach? Who wants to come? All of that sort of stuff. You then have to, I guess, once you've kind of created the brand for the event, you then can speak to sponsors to say, okay, well, this is our vision, this is our mission, this is what we're doing, this is how many people we're going to have at the event, this is, the themes we want to explore. How do we then, do you now want to, contribute and be part of it for that brand alignment? So aligning this sponsor brand with this TEDx brand, and then marrying those two together. And it makes you, have to be strategic in who you approach, because it has to make sense for that particular brand to actually want to engage with an event like that. And then getting those together, it's an application. You can go through an application process for speakers, or you will go out and bring people in that you think are the right voices for this particular topic. TEDx events are all themed, so there will be one sort of overall theme, and then within that you can have, people speaking that relate to the theme. You can interpret the theme any way you want. You can have it quite broad, have it quite specific, have it whatever it might be. And then, it's about finding those people, having the right diversity and mix. Once you've got, I guess, the right ideas on the table. It's really important though when looking at, the speaking cohort and speaking and performing cohort, because you have performers as well. Is it the right mix of people in the room? Do you have enough gender diversity, sexual orientation, ethnicity, disability, and ability, all this type of stuff? You want people that actually are come from the community and are the right people that are representative of the community. So TEDx events are all community-based events. So the people that you have on stage should be representative of that. And I guess once you're satisfied with the right ideas, the right mix of people, you can then start training everyone. And we do this through, I guess, a bunch of workshops. So we do workshops where we bring everyone together and we make it a fun, I guess, experience. And do one-on-one work with people where we review the scripts and we go through it to ensure that they're actually carrying, the right idea across in their talk and hitting the mark, all that sort of stuff. And then it's just doing this back and forth with people to, get them to practice, get them to feel comfortable, answer any questions that they have, and work with them on any doubt that they might have. And then it's about just getting it all together and creating a really fun event and day.
Oh God, it's like a lot of work involved.
Yeah.
So how much time it takes to organize it all things?
I estimated it's about 500 hours a year, which is my time. So
it's like huge time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So about the audience, how do you choose audience? Like you choose like a group of people. How do you invite the audience there?
Oh, the audience. So you advertise and people can buy a ticket. But of course, it's about, the things that you're talking about that might not resonate with everyone. So it's about, promoting. What we do is promote each speaker's talk and topic in the hope that, some people who are, our audience will say, oh, that's really interesting. I want to go and learn about that.
Yep.
And then for some people, it's about being in the room with the right people. So will other people that are, business people or entrepreneurs be in this space so I can come and learn from them? And it's incredible when you look around the room to see the mix and diversity of people, because, you'll have academics, students, business people, business leaders, people like retirees, whatever, in this room. And it's great to, give people the opportunity to mingle and mix once all the talks are done. So the talks throughout the day are broken up into sessions, and a session might be like an hour, but then you have like a 45-minute break where you throw everyone together to have these conversations about being able to mix and mingle and hear these ideas and talk about what they've just seen on stage. So it's really important to bring all that together.
So do you give chance for the audience to ask any questions in there?
No questions? No. So because it just kind of ruins the flow and you can't really control it. Too much logistical stuff. But I guess in the breaks we give the audience the opportunity to talk to the speakers, so they can find them and chat then if they want to. But if people really do want to reach out individually to those speakers, people can do that as well.
So while training the speaker, what are the main things you are concentrated about? Do you concentrate about their personal skill sets or only the communication skills?
Oh, it's a little bit of everything. So it's not just communication, because that's like one aspect. We just want to get people. We want them to feel comfortable in themselves, because the most important thing for a speaker to do is to be their authentic self. So we want everyone to be comfortable to be authentically them on stage, because without that, if they are in the mindset that they feel that they have to be the TEDx speaker, and whatever that might be, because we've seen so many of those videos where you see someone clicking around and speaking in a particular American accent. If people think they have to do that, the audience won't resonate with them. So we want people to be comfortable in themselves and how they present, So we just emphasize the importance of people being able to speak in a way that is true to them, in the fashion that is appropriate for them. And once we get people feeling comfortable there, we get them to work on their actual idea itself. So the talk, and then it's just about ensuring that, it's in a position where it's ready to go out. So people have to learn everything from scratch. They have to, they don't get notes, so they can't take anything with them on stage, and ensuring that they're, reaching the people that they want to reach by doing their talk.
Okay. So it's like almost like maybe 4 to 5 months background work is required to do, just sort out all these things. Yeah.
Yeah. On with the speaker part, it's about 6 months from when we open up applications to being on stage.
Okay, it's a long time.
Yeah.
So, do you choose one particular person per day, or like you do like multiple shows in like one?
It's just one day.
Oh,
The event is one day. So it's just a big full.
what do you suggest for a young person? Daily 3 habits that need to be included to make sure he's like top on the speaking skills.
Oh, that's a good question. I guess ensuring that you are talking to people every day. So being able to have the opportunity to have a conversation with people is going to be really important. And then seeing where you can take that conversation is great. Because when you speak to people one-on-one, you can then understand, I guess, how your language is being used and how you're resonating with that individual and where you can take that conversation. The next, if you're, actually wanting to purposely work on your communication skills, it's, I'd love people to record a video, record a little video.
Every day.
Why not? Record a video for yourself. If like your thing is to improve your communication, you need to actively do that. Record a video. And then when you record the video, listen to it.
Okay.
Listen to it, but don't watch. And then write down what you have gathered from that.
Just listen. So don't need to watch it. Okay.
Not yet. And then I want you to watch without the audio.
Okay.
So then you can understand what you're doing. So do you move your hand in a particular way? Are you not, using eye contact, that type of stuff? And then combine the two.
Okay.
Watch with audio, watch with the video, and then combine it together and say, okay, what have I learned from this? So I guess that's 1 and 2. So being able to have those conversations with people, recording a video. And then the third, it really depends on, I guess, what you want to do with your communication. Like, is it for a presentation? Is it for conversations? Is it for, virtual? I guess be really clear on what that sort of end goal is. But I guess it could be writing. You could sit down and write a little bit a day. So could you journal and then think about how you could change something tomorrow to improve your communication? Could you actually use this opportunity to journal to improve your writing skills?
Yes.
So improving writing improves your speaking. So you can combine the two together.
But I have a big question here. If I'm amateur, so I don't know what I'm doing. So if I even record, or if I even record it every day, but how to analyze myself? So I don't know the mistakes I'm doing. So how to tick those mistakes and change myself?
Oh, it depends on what's a mistake though. I think that's a subjective thing.
Okay.
Because it might not necessarily be a mistake. I want people to focus on what they like about the talk, what they saw, or what they want to change. Because if they think, oh, I don't really like how my head bobbles around like that, for example, if someone's like doing this a lot, then you can say, okay, well, I don't want to do that. Or if someone always says so or that at the beginning or within a talk, write that down and note it down. Because when you become conscious of these things, you then stop yourself from doing it. So it's just about understanding what it is you like about it and what you want to change. And that's how, I guess, that self-feedback is really important. So I think, because I don't think there are any mistakes. I think, everything we do is normal and fine for ourselves. It's just about how can we improve what we're doing so it's the most engaging for the audience, and we're not distracting our message because of something we're doing.
Yes.
So it's all about being able to transform and make it as effective and useful as possible.
Actually, that works actually. But you should be very smart at analyzing things. And first thing is, you should be ready to change yourself. If you're feeling like, okay, this is wrong, just try to change from tomorrow. Just start doing it every day. Make it as a habit. That's where you change everything. So I think you started your career like decade back. So if you start your career today, what are the steps you will consider? Because if you compare with the technology or like how you deal the social media tools and everything, how do you think that you can start today?
If I were to start my career today, I would immediately jump on LinkedIn and Instagram and create. Before I do that, I think about what are the values that are important to me.
Yes.
What are the things that I care about the most, and how do I want people to view me? Because it's about the message I'm sharing with the world. So being really clear on that first. And then from there, it's about how do I communicate this message to everyone else so they know what I'm about. Social media is a really easy way. So get on LinkedIn, get on Instagram, maybe Facebook, and then curate content that is sharing this stuff. Creating, I guess, a group of people that are interested in this as well. And then going from there and ensuring, people are interested and like what I have to say and resonate with that message. From there, your network becomes your net worth, essentially. So once you've kind of done your stuff and people have found you and they are interested and engaged, you can then create a network of people that are going to be really interested in what you're about. So finding those people is going to be really, really, really critical and important. And then ensuring you put yourself out there. I think making sure you go to those networking events to find more people. And if you see someone doing something that you're interested in, approach them and ask. So don't be afraid to reach out and, speak to people and learn about them and how they got to where they are, to see if you can, learn from their experience or, could they become a mentor for you?
Yes.
So I think, all of these things are really important.
And how to build your network into your net worth?
I think going to those events, putting yourself out there, getting in there and talking to people and being in the right environment, I think is going to be really important. Not being afraid to send a message to someone, whether it's Instagram or LinkedIn, to say, hey, look, I love what you're doing. I think what you're about is really, really cool. And I'd love to learn from you. Like, could we have a coffee? And you'd be surprised how generous people are. People are really, really happy to say, yeah, you know what? That sounds great.
Yeah, let's catch up.
Let's do it. Sure. Like, hey, we live in different cities. We could do a Zoom. That type of thing. And
it's easy.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that actually? Because, when you're meeting somebody, how to present yourself at that particular point? As you told, let's meet up for the coffee. So how do you present yourself?
I'm going to be me. I don't think there's any other way. Whatever I'm wearing that day is what I'm going to rock up with to the thing. Unless, I look trashy, I'd make sure I'm looking pretty good or like decent enough. But I think in every situation, I just try and be my authentic self because I don't want someone to see me in a way that's not me. So being you and being authentic to you is really important. So I want that other person to see me in that light as well. So I'll talk in the way that I talk. I'll be polite, but if we get along really well, I'll probably loosen up and speak to them as I would one of my friends in a more, I guess, conversational kind of way.
Yes. So how do you find that you are in a right place in the event or wherever you go?
I mean, do you ever really know if you're in the right place? I think that's a big question. I think you just have to be like, if you're happy and comfortable where you are, and you be able to look at your progress. I think you could probably then determine, I'm in the right spot. I think I've done well. But if there's things you want to change, then you just have to make those adjustments. And if you're not where you think you should be, then you just have to actively make those changes to get there.
Because I'm not a socially active person, keep on going to meetings and all these things, but I need to change that. I need to start going to events, meeting right people. I'm in that, but I don't feel that I'm in like on the top till I need more people to build big projects or something.
Yeah.
What is the main thing that is lacking from Australian market?
I think for us, we don't necessarily nurture entrepreneurs in the same way that I think America does. If you look at, I guess, America, they've got, Silicon Valley, and they've got places like that where it's a thriving hub of people who are all trying to
be successful. Yep.
Be successful. Exactly. We don't tend to do that very well here. I mean, we've got programs, like smaller programs that people can get into and, mingle with each other and gain that feedback and then try and take their idea somewhere. But at the end of the day, I don't know, I think when you're like in the trenches doing it with other people around you full time all the time with other investors who are in that space, it just creates, I guess, that thriving network. So I think, that's just this big difference that, I think exists over there compared to over here. I think over there as well, part in the US, there's an attitude difference of we can just try it and see. Whereas here, I think there might be a bit of fear, and that might be because of, being afraid of what other people might think of you. But whatever it might be, I think there is that perception that, within America, people are not necessarily afraid to just go out and give something a go because they can.
They can just present themselves easily. So if you compare like that, I think if you take those things very seriously, what is the best suggestion you give to the young startup entrepreneurs or who wanted to start their business? What are the main thing you focus compared to other markets?
I think one of the things that is really important is, having the right people around you. I think for me, one of the things that enabled my business to have any sort of success is the fact that I had a group of people around me who would support me. So just like creating that idea of having a network and having those people around you, being able to ensure that you could touch base with people and say, well, what do you think about this? Does this make sense? Does it work? I don't know how to do this. I'm not sure which system is good. Having a support network around you is very useful. So being able to gather and create a group of people that you can work with and support you, because, I'm doing this alone. I know a few other people who are doing it by themselves as well. Being able to collaborate and share is just really important to ensure, our ongoing success. So that's really important.
What are the lacking support system from the government here?
Don't know. Don't really know what the government is or isn't doing. But I think we're probably not as generous with funding and supporting. So, there might be some small business grant programs, but they're probably not as readily available depending on the particular criteria. So perhaps, we should be expanding what those look like and giving people more opportunities to actually try and, test without risk, really. Having, I guess, those programs where people feel like they are supported and, don't have to go into it completely bootstrapped. So I guess having that support from, government would be amazing. But of course, it's tough economic times, so you can never really be sure, what support we might end up getting in the future.
If you go from the same perspective of business opinions, what are the 3 major mistakes you observed in your own clients?
Mistakes. I find it interesting because, for each person, it's really about their goals.
Yes.
So what is it that they want to improve and how do they want to get to that, to their point? So, I don't believe in mistakes because I don't think anyone does a mistake. It's all about, where they want to be. So I think, it's really just about the individual and where they see themselves going and how they can, get themselves to the next point. One thing that I think everyone should avoid, and that is using a passive tone. Using a passive tone just makes your sentences sound really weak. So ensuring that you're using an active tone is really important. But I don't necessarily view that as being a major mistake. It's just something that, because grammatically it's correct, but it can reduce the importance of what you're saying and makes it sound less confident. So having a stronger sounding sentence and voice is going to be important, and the active tone is good for that. And I guess something else that, once again, not necessarily a mistake, but a way to enhance how we communicate effectively is to just speak in plain English. So although we might be the technical experts in what we do, we shouldn't be using that technical language with people that don't necessarily understand it, because it's not going to penetrate with them. So we need to ensure that anytime we are communicating a message, it's in language that's anyone can understand, so it's accessible to them.
Like put it in the active voice, I think. That's what you're saying.
No, I'm saying plain English.
Okay.
Yeah. Active voice is just how we structure the sentence. Plain English is ensuring that we are communicating in language that is accessible to the other person.
So easily understanding.
Yeah.
That's it. It works because if somebody is paying your bills, you can just work on your project.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's easy than comparatively working for like 9-to-5 job.
Yeah, because you're giving yourself time. I think that, for any entrepreneur, it's about having the time and the mental capacity to actually put into the project. So ensuring that you've got both time and money, then you can get going.
So being a lawyer, how you use your experience to deal other things in the business?
Yeah, I mean, for me, being a lawyer gave me the opportunity to actually focus on this skill of communication, because most of my job is communicating complicated concepts to people, to very, very different audiences. So that first gave me the skill for, I guess, the idea of what my whole business was going to be about. But generally, like in terms of, the whole business thing, having a legal background is really, really important for having, drafting my terms and conditions for when I engage someone, or they engage me, being able to negotiate terms with any contractor that I want to bring in to help me to do my work. Understanding my intellectual property and knowing how to protect it, and putting mechanisms in place to not reveal my IP, and creating my own non-disclosure agreements if I'm having a conversation with someone who I might want to work with. It's given me, I guess, the foundations for creating what I've got and knowing how to navigate and set everything up. So I knew how to set up my business structure and all of that stuff, thanks to having the legal background, and then can from there navigate the taxation space as well. I'm not a tax expert, but I've got a very general idea of what that looks like.
Do you think any startup need a lawyer?
I think it makes sense. I think it'll be a very, very smart idea to get some initial legal advice to help with structuring what the business looks like, how you can protect and focus on your IP and prevent risks early. So if you're creating a product, what sort of insurances do you have to have in place to ensure that you're not going to be liable if something were to go wrong? So having that legal opinion early is great. Obviously, you don't need to get someone in-house straight away if it's just a business of one, but getting some initial advice to help you get started would be smart.
How much they need to invest on this, getting good ideas with other lawyers?
Oh, I mean, how long's a piece of string? I think, legal advice can come in all different forms.
Yeah, they charge you high.
Once again, depends. Depends the service provider, depends the offering that you're going with. Like, are you just asking for a couple hours of work? Are you going for like a fixed fee arrangement? What do you need done? And I think from there, that's going to be really important to just get you started. So it depends on, what your budget is as well. So being really clear, all right, we've got $2,000. What can we do with that? If that's what you've got, then that's all you'll get. But if you think, okay, well, I want to prevent, I want us to be really prepared for this situation, that situation. We want to go and do this. We need these documents prepared. Could get that all started and done initially. So it really just depends on, what you're planning and what your scope is.
Because when I started my first business, I think there is no need of a lawyer actually. But due to my friend's suggestions, I went to a lawyer, but they charged me $2,500 like before 3 years.
Yeah.
But when I came to know that, it's like I'm paying for nothing because it's not the work they do. I just went there because it satisfies me saying that I went there. Actually, that's where that is the reason why I asked you a question, because initial days, a founder or a startup guy need to concentrate on lawyer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, end up paying, losing even $2,000.
Yeah.
You can spend those resources in other thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally.
Being in the Association of Corporate Counsel, it's like, what is your role there? How do you deal with all these things in parallelly?
So with ACC Australia, I'm one of its directors. So I'm director on the board. I'm the Tasmanian divisional president. So I head up the Tasmanian branch essentially. And I'm I've got a few roles. Another one is I'm the chair of the sole legal officer network. So people who are the sole lawyer for a company. I'm part of that cohort as well. And I manage that group for any sort of events that we run under that, and, programs and resources. And I'm also the chair of the National Conference Programming Committee. So I'm part of, leading the charge for what our conference program looks like. So our speakers and content for that.
Okay, so you are a group of people who runs I think it comes under the TEDx maybe? No, this is a different zone, I think.
This is a legal association.
Okay. This is from your lawyer
stuff.
thing. Okay,
Yeah,
it's been 8 years. I think you're being the board of director.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah. It's really
it's like
good. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. How many board members do you have?
Board members? I think there's 12 of us.
Oh, so how does it work? Because if a decision need to be made in the board, so you need to call everybody, or like?
Well, we have board meetings together. So everyone, comes together every 2 months, and we Zoom, all do it on Zoom, and because we're all around the country, and we just, have our conversations. So we get the papers, we run through the process of, what we need to discuss, what are we deciding, do we have enough information to actually make a decision, and we just have those conversations together. It's always a good time.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So it was really nice talking to you, Thor, and amazing. The experience and knowledge you got is really fabulous. And thanks for coming again here.
No worries. Thank you so much.
Yep.